being recognized here today. I am so excited to see all of you light up the world. My name is Erin Mitchell, and today I just wanted to reflect on a couple things that being a senior in high school, I wish I had known. So thank you to the Minnesota Aspirations and Computing community for having me. Even if we can't meet in person, please reach out if I can be of use to you. Again, things I wish I had known as a junior or senior in high school. I'm gonna flip it a little bit. One of the things that's been asked of me a lot recently is, what advice do you have for high school seniors? And so I'm gonna start off by answering that and then go into three big topics I wish I had known or had believed in when I was in high school. So, advice for high school seniors. First of all, regardless of what you do next, enter the workforce, choose a trade, go on to a university, pay somebody else to do your taxes, or pay the $50 and use TurboTax. It will save you so much time and so much stress in the long run. Just do it. Second of all, I know graduation is probably virtual or canceled for a lot of you, and I'm so happy that we can still meet even virtually. Ignore the ceremony. The people and the memories you have are what make it fun. After this is all over and we're done with the stay-at-home orders, go take your fabulous self and your 4 fabulous best friends and go have a photo shoot in your cap and gown and keep those memories. Those are the important ones. My third point is, whatever you choose to do in life, know that you belong there and the path you chose is the right one. And that's my segue into 3 things I wish I had known when I was in high school. Point number 1, believe in yourself. My favorite quote is actually a Winnie the Pooh quote. It's, "They say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day." Thank you, Winnie the Pooh, for making me think maybe I could do the impossible. In 2004, at age 8, my parents told me, "Your cousin's gonna go build buildings. She's an engineer," as we went to her graduation ceremony from the University of Minnesota. She was the first engineer that I had ever met. In 2010, I had dreamed of being an author or a journalist, but my mom made me take an electricity class as a freshman in high school. I hated every minute of it, and I swore off engineering forever. Obviously, that didn't work out so well because I'm an engineer now, but at the time, I didn't think it was in the cards for me. That was the same year that I had joined the first robotics team. In 2013, I was a Minnesota Aspirations and Computing runner-up. I actually cried in my robotics coach's basement because I had submitted an application basically under duress from one of my teachers and thought I had no shot at winning. I joined the Aspirations and Computing Facebook community that year, which, if you haven't done that yet, go do that right now. It's a wonderful community of women from all age ranges and all fields of study dedicated to empowering each other. My first post as a junior in high school was my robotics team's Twitter handle. It got us a lot of followers, would recommend. In 2014, I was a Minnesota Aspirations and Computing state winner. I also cried that year because I thought it had been awarded to me because they just didn't have enough applicants. I know now that it was because I did really cool stuff, and you do really cool stuff, and you should believe that you deserve this award. In September of 2014, I had started school at Iowa State University. Cassidy Williams' song posted in the NCWIT Facebook group, "Where do you want to end up?" And I commented on there, "Rockwell Collins." I have a printout of their logo taped to my dorm room wall because I was a little bit of a nerd. At that point, I was studying materials engineering. Later that month, I actually almost switched out of engineering. It was really hard. Materials engineering was not my happy place. It just was not a good fit for me. I thought about marketing. That's a lot of what I did on my robotics team. I thought maybe business was the place I should go. In October 2014, instead of switching out of engineering, a friend had talked me into trying industrial engineering, combining people and engineering and making processes better. And I realized that that was the spot I should be in. And if I didn't have a community around me telling me that you should do this and you could be good at this, I don't think I would have believed in myself enough to stay in engineering. My second point, do what you love. 6 years later, after graduating from Iowa State, I'm an industrial engineer in new product introduction at Collins Aerospace, formerly Rockwell Collins, throw back to that Facebook comment from Cassidy. I live in Florida. I run a nonprofit magazine called Reinvented magazine for women in STEM. I mentor a robotics team. I'm starting my second master's in systems engineering with a focus in human factors from Johns Hopkins. And I'm traveling every weekend when we're not in quarantine around the country exploring new places. I love what I do every day, and I don't see myself in a different spot. Engineering is really hard. Computer science is hard. School is hard, but I love what I do, and I wouldn't change it for the world. As an industrial or a manufacturing engineer, my focus is on improving processes and helping people. This could be anything from crawling around on the floor, installing a vacuum system so my people don't have to worry about debris and dust getting into the product they're working on, to helping with the design and the manufacturing of the next commercial synthetic vision system, helping pilots combine what their visible eye can see, what cameras can see, and what sensors and other applications can see to help pilots navigate safely and successfully. Really, my job and most jobs in tech are asking what if. What problems can you find, and what problems can you come up with new ways to solve? How can you make them better or faster than they are today? That's what tech is, and that's what, if you're here today, probably something you love to do. Point number 3, I wish I had known when I was in high school. You belong in the space you're in, and you should take up that space. From Discovery's recent Despite the Odds literature review, researchers have demonstrated a connection between interest in STEM as early as middle school and the subsequent choice to major in STEM in college. Young women who choose engineering believe that being an engineer is who they are. Young women who persist in engineering report feeling as if they found a place where they belong. That's a big part of the reason I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Reinvented magazine, a nonprofit who's dedicated to reinventing the face of STEM. We've created the nation's first print magazine for women in STEM to give women people to look at and say, I could be that person in 5 years. I could use that technology in my day-to-day life. We highlight role models that you and I may not see in our everyday lives. Someone was probably that spark of technology for you, right? A teacher or a mentor or a guardian or a friend. Maybe it was, you yourself and you, right? Someone who said, you could do this. You're good at this. You belong here. But a spark got started, a spark that turned into a passion for technology, a spark that led you to STEM and exploring and inspiring and growing, a spark that has you being recognized here today and challenged to light up the world with your talents and your passions. Now it's your turn. You have to take all of that and change the world with it. I'll leave you with a few closing comments that I wish, someone had told me over and over and over again. And sometimes I have to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, you can do this, right? But it's, don't be afraid to be aggressive. Aggression shows passion. This is something you should never try to filter or hide because you're afraid of what other people will think of you. You're not simply lucky to be here, like I thought back in 2013. You've worked incredibly hard to be here and you deserve to be recognized. Don't diminish your successes and strive for it always. But remember that failing is okay. That really hard test in school, that one project that you can't just get right on the side, that one thing that you're like, why isn't this working for me? Failing and falling will teach you more about yourself than immediate success will. You're strong, you're capable, you belong here. You're powerful, you're courageous. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. You're part of the NCWIT community now, and I am so honored to have you. You belong here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin. Now we're going to invite Erin to take center stage to respond to some questions from our honorees. So Erin, come up on stage.
Hey everybody, just want to say thank you again to the entire Minnesota community for having me today. It's such an honor to be here and to be able to share with you. So the first question we got was, can you point to a person who is your spark? And that's a really hard question to answer just because I feel like I had so many of them. But just one in particular was a professor I had as a freshman in college who just came in and just loved what she did every day. She had been a manufacturing engineer for like 20 years before coming back to teach. And you could just tell that she loved what she did and she loved teaching the next generation of STEM. And she believed in me at a point where that was that point where I thought I was gonna switch out of engineering entirely. And she looked at me and she said, you're good at math and you're good at engineering and you're good at problem solving. Why would you do that? So she really was kind of that big spark for me, but it's been a continuous point of people who I see who inspire me every day in my day-to-day life. So yeah. Next one I see is, do you have a network of women in your workspace? What are they like? So that's actually an interesting one. I've had a couple roles at Collins Aerospace, and up until this role, I've actually been the only female on my direct reporting team. But I've had a super successful, just supportive environment at my place of employment, which is fantastic. My team actually now is split right about half and half technical and non-technical, and we're about half and half male and female also, which is really exciting. Collins Aerospace does a really good job of supporting and empowering everyone to succeed. So I think I'm really lucky in that regard to be able to help build others up and know that they have my back. That's the most important thing I think you could find in a workplace, is everyone's ability to stick together and to be able to build each other up. The other piece of that is I actually am the chief financial officer of Reinvented magazine, which is almost entirely women. It's like 70 volunteers who put together a quarterly magazine, focusing entirely on women who do really cool stuff, right? So being able to focus and highlight on recent tech news and know that everybody behind me in the whole organization is there to support each other as we put together this magazine, but also just build women up in general and provide them that role model. So that's really cool. What do you do in order to make hard decisions, like when you changed your engineering focus? So honestly, like, I think it's kind of an expectation for everybody in higher education at some point to have a life crisis, or maybe like 7. I know I had several. And so the first point is, again, whatever you're feeling at that point in time is absolutely valid and okay. And if you just need to like have a good cry over some ice cream, do that first, get that out of your system, and then, you know, pull it back in and say, all right, what are my next steps? I'm a list person, so I do pros and cons a lot, and that really helps me just process a situation. And so I think that would be my advice of, you know, feel those emotions fully, and then once you've reached a turning point, like think through it a little bit more rationally, and then make your decision from there. I see a question from Sophie Bingen. I hope I said your last name right. Are there any challenges you face as a woman in STEM? So it's definitely interesting to be the only female on a team. My direct team, I haven't had any issues or any concerns with them. From the broader audience, it's a little bit different because it's very obvious when you walk into a room of engineers and you're the only one. And that has happened to me more times than I think I can count. So it's a little bit disconcerting at first. I know when I walked into one of my classes in college and there were 30 of us and there were 2 girls who were both named Erin, I'm like, well, this is awesome. The TA is gonna know our names really well, really, really fast. It was a little bit disconcerting, right? Because I'm like, this has not been a situation I'm used to, so what's going on here? But then I realized, I wasn't, I didn't have to worry because I knew I was good at what I did. And I think that's something I wish I had found earlier, is just that confidence in myself to be like, I know I belong in this space and feel like I could assert myself in the space I was in. What are some daily habits you have which contribute to your successes? So right now everything's kind of out of whack because quarantine is a thing, right? And I'm sure that's the same for everybody who's in the middle of AP testing, because I know that's going on and finals are coming up and everything's insane, right? Things I try to do every day are, I try to start off with a little bit of like meditation or just centering myself, take that 5 minutes in the morning, and sometimes it's just, get ready for the day, take a few deep breaths, and other times it's, like I said in the video, of standing in front of the mirror and saying, okay, you're gonna do this day, you're gonna get this day done. And so taking a little bit of me time at the beginning of the day, especially now that I'm working from home, and just switching over to my laptop, is really, really beneficial for me to be able to just start. Okay. And I think we're about out of time, so thank you everybody. It was so nice to speak to you today. And again, thank you to the community for having me. I'm so, so grateful to be able to speak to you all. Thank you.